deal with the shake. We have some nyala just up ahead of us. I hope we can get this, David. But the African hawk eagle at the bottom, the harrier hawk just diving it. You can see the white window patches in the wings of the African hawk eagle as it comes over. And that, yes, almost. Did you get that? Okay, this is good camera work. Well, this is just good practice because it's not easy to follow eagles in flight. But it's an African harrier hawk hassling an African hawk eagle. And we know that hawk eagle because it lives down on the river. Well, I think we might lose it. Getting too high. Oh, what a maneuver. They both feed on birds, so they are competition. I couldn't even say it's like a lion and a leopard because it's nothing like that. It's more like a... It's not even like a cheetah and a leopard. Nothing like anything I've ever seen before in my life. Hawk eagle and African harrier hawk. I don't think there's much seriousness going on, but it's certainly the one is trying to intimidate the other. The harrier hawk is trying to intimidate the eagle. But this is the eagle's territory. We know where they nest. They nest down there in the baboon trees, and our beaters down on the Thornybush River. And this is one of the pair. And very unusual actually to see only one of the pair, because you normally see both pairs of hawk eagles. But it could be that this particular aerial battle is the one of the pair trying to deal with this nuisance. I think the hawk eagle is probably superior in flight. The harrier hawk has got wing strength, but it doesn't spend time on the wing. The harrier hawk spends its time clinging to trees and rocks and mountainsides and digging its feet in the hole. Ooh. Went into a bit of a stoop and almost got the hawk eagle. Of course, I have to have two of the most difficult names in eagle and raptor to deal with here.
Gonna go too high.
Oh look, oh yeah, but there they were right. Oh, it's coming this way. Can you see that drop?
Yeah, I see.
It's coming down. There's a drop of bird eagle food that's coming down right on top of you right now. It's blowing over. Wow, it's coming from high. Staying there. It's a fish. Well, I don't know how much you got of that, but for me it was certainly a pleasure. For me it was incredible. 30 eagles. Well, one eagle, one harrier hawk. Used to be known as the gymnadine. Not easy to follow with such a big camera and all, especially with sun and especially with what we had to deal with, the light and the bonnet, following fighting raptors. a local Nyala family. We've seen them a few times. We'll stop here and have a look. Oh, what's that book? It'll have to be tomorrow. I found it, Sharon. And I do have the book that has the horn carvers. There's Mum, just walking past one of her sons from a previous birth. About a year and a half, I'd say. And her recent baby from a year earlier. Which is about 6 months ago. Gravity Drive. There. Okay, let's move. Okay, our earpiece has been out, so I don't know what's been going on at all, because I've been enjoying that moment. It doesn't even, I couldn't look up and have my earpiece in at the same time for some reason. Both birds are now not visible. Not figure. This was loud. Gigantia. Carrion plant. Why did I have Striga on my mind? Striga elegans is a gorgeous little red flower that pops up with purple. Times when there are not many flowering. That is the giant. It is. I forgot. That is with an S. Bugging me now. Septilia. That's what it is. I was going through the S's in my head and I got there before I got even to the S's in the index. Septilia. giant Cecilia. We used to have them in our camp at Guipela. I got to know them so well. Beautiful big maroon red star flower. That's one of the biggest flowers we have in Southern Africa, actually. Big star shape. But it needs flies, it needs carrion flies and other fly species pollinated, so it smells like carrion. Yes. Bye, Piggy. They must have had a hard day. But happy to have had a day. We are all. There were critters back there, deep in the bush. I saw a rup that ran away when I reversed. So we'd come down south for a little bit, south of camp, because it is so open, just for a change. In case we have our local zebra herd or the whole giraffe family or our wildebeest family. But it might be a little bit early for them to be out in the open. Oh, there's a data on the termite mound, but wow, it's just behind the ring bark, nice lots of stuff. Oh, there's a nice frame. Look at that. It's actually a perfect frame with their faces on the top. You hear me talking about Dacre a lot, and there's very, very few times that we're able to actually get to see them. Sorry, I was just trying to do something technical here. But I've spoken about Dacre a lot, and what's really amazing about Dacre is that this is the grey Dacre, the common or grey Dacre. Really one of the most common antelopes throughout Africa. But you hardly ever get to see them because they're so sensitive. I think, who was it, Kevin in Boston this morning was asking me about animals that are vulnerable. And I really mostly only mentioned the animals that live in groups. And I didn't mention these solitary animals that don't have many ears and noses and eyes to look out for danger. They have to rely almost entirely on their own, or, as maybe in the Dacre's case, a mate, because they do mate for life and they live within each other's. Well, she lives in his territory, or he actually more a case of he creates a territory and a safe haven for her to live in peace. And he thinks he's in control, but actually he does it all for her, so she's actually the one in control because it's all for her that he does it. But I think that's kind of reflected right throughout the human animal world. The perception of who yields the power. And she's gone. What a pity. She didn't like me talking. But there we go. Common duiker. One of the dwarf antelopes. In fact, probably one of the largest of the dwarf antelopes. If we go into the sizes of things like Suni and Dik-Dik, and they're even smaller things than, well, they're tiny little children. But that was really nice. I've got a few photographs of it. It's a really nice moment of the duiker. I don't know if you noticed, but there was that tuft of hair in the center of her forehead. It looked like a horn, like a single horn. And that has led to a nickname that day, the many unicorns in the bush. As per usual suspects, I'm not getting sign of them. I thought that's a bit early to be out here in this open area. We actually need to get here around sunset to see them out. Right now, most of the herbivores, zebra and wildebeest, they're going to be deep in the shadows. There's less likelihood of predators moving around in the heat of the day, and there are better grasses to be eaten, or better plants to be fed on in thicker bush. You're out of the sun. A whole bunch of benefits. But come sundown, they're going to have to move out of those thickets down below and come back out into these open grasslands. That's why we see them here early in the morning. We don't really see anything here in the afternoon. But you never know. We've had some surprises. And that's what driving around is all about. Every moment there could be a surprise. In fact, if I had to sum it up in one, or if I had to draw an analogy, it's like the lotto. Except we win the lotto a lot more times than I would ever win the lotto, and you have to pay money for it. Yeah, I get far more excitement out of this because here I win far more often, and I don't invest anything other than my passion, a little bit of my knowledge and understanding, but most of all it's luck. Most of all it's just being in the right place at the right time. I blow my own trumpet. I know I'm good at what I do, but a lot of the time it's luck, being able to be in the right place at the right time, to find those tracks that are so fresh that you can find the animals shortly after, because the longer it takes for you to track them, the less likelihood there is of actually catching up with them. Unless you're a sandbusher, in which case you can run as fast as they run and still track them even over a tar road. I think I'm an average tracker. I don't think I'm that special. know the guys who got more better than I. But it's not something you ever stop learning about. So there's no grade, there's no bar to reach. Learn as you go along. Life. One of those life lessons. Very much on a parallel with life lessons. It's all relative. At each stage you know a lot, but the older you get, the more you know. The more you experience. Okay, so what are we going to do today? My volume is down. Has on the grand drive radio, but Aaron, you've been trying to get me. Okay, so now I've got my volume up. Here's a question. A question that comes from New York. And the question from New York is whether the stripes on a Nyala are as unique as the stripes on a zebra. And Sarah, yes, they are. Every single animal, it's hard to see it on an impala, but even an impala has unique markings. And so, obviously, the more uniform an animal looks, the more subtle those differences are going to be. And I think because zebra are so stark and so stripy that initially you think they're all the same, but then when you start looking at them and you start seeing individual variations in the pattern, you get to realize that it's like a fingerprint. Physically, it's impossible because of genetics. It's physically impossible to have a duplicate unless it's a clone, and even then, don't even get me started on the cloning thing. But in terms of things like Nyala and Kudu and everything, I've always said we should get this scanner that we can do a Kudu. I was talking about Kudu a few years ago. A Kudu scanner that I could keep track of all the Kudu that I lived in an area with the scanner and have a database. It wouldn't even take that much of a lot of software to do because there can't be that many Kudu, but everyone is different. Everyone is so different that they can be identified very, very easily. And what we were looking for in those days were not only just the spacing of the stripes and perhaps the number, but also those odd mutants where, and I'm calling them mutants because the stripes touched and it created almost like an X on the back where the stripes came down and touched. And it's only really when you start looking at things, this is the difference between seeing something and observing something. We don't come out here to see wildlife. We come out here to observe wildlife. We come out here to sit and interpret everything that we're looking at. And it's going off with a tangent. But yes, everything has a different stripe to the next. Whereas to the community that they live in, they have enough of they're as different as you and me in our lives. where we can see so much difference in our features, but it's difficult for us to see difference in features of animals. And so we have to look for those minutiae, those difference in spots on the face of the leopard, or the difference in stripes on a nyala, or the pattern of a zebra and the pattern of and tone of a giraffe. And sometimes those markings are so subtle, but there is a difference that we have to resort to scars and holes in the ears and notches in the ears, like lion and stuff. But you know, you can tell the difference between individual cats. Lion, for example, by certain markings. There might be a few millimeters difference in the amount of black on the ear, or a slight variation in the amount of white under the eye or something. But with lion, the easiest way are spots above the whiskers, what we call them whisker spots. Whoop-de-doo, that's the original name. Spots above the whiskers, let's call them whisker spots. Okay, makes sense. But every single lion throughout Africa, I don't care how many there are, have a different configuration of spots on the whiskers. Hey, go into the sun, we're going to have to eventually. I'm trying to think what we ought to do. The Ellies were up north. We left the Ellies up north this morning. Maybe come back. Let's try and come back here a long time before sunset so that we can go and look for Billy the wildebeest and zebra stuff. But for now we'll do the see what we can find and hope something jumps out of that routine, which is more exciting than anything. Because when you find tracks and follow tracks, it's almost like you half expect to see it all the time, which is what I do. Of course, I might enjoy it when we eventually do, but I think my track record hasn't been very good here at Thornybush. But I don't feel guilty about that at all, because judging by the track record of the trackers and the guides, they're not that much more successful, and that's not got anything to do with our ability to track, but merely the conditions and the fact that the density of the grasses needs various skills. Okay, so that doesn't mean bring our tracking ability into question. Little Impala boys that are going on to their second year, and Sharon has been asking about aging and antelope, particularly kudu, not so much Impala, but I want to go through everything now and see, when we look at things, look at the size of horn versus age. What is that big grey animal over there? Now those Impala would have been born about 20 months ago, or 19, so November of 11. December of 11. So they would have been conceived in May of 2011. April, May, born November, December 2011. We made them yearlings last year, and this past rutting season would have been the first time that they would have been ousted from the herd, and they would have been part of bachelor herds. Right throughout the rutting season, taking the brunt of the ire of the old rams that were sparring and needed to vent some of their anger on something smaller and less reactive. Yebo. Can try. Yeah. Where are you? Hang on, Ellen. Aren't you on those Impala, dude? Oh, sorry, Aaron, I was distracted. What was that? I'm talking about those Impala. That is a question. Okay. These two boys, up until now, have had about 6 to 8 inches of horn that have been relatively straight but curving inwards, almost touching at the tip. And now, as they go into their sort of 18 months, into their second year, you can see there's a little bit of a curl forward. Quite interested in something. I can hear a Scops owl already. So they're quite interested in something, listening to something inside. Hopefully we can go through the antelope as we pass them and sort of try and get some idea of horn growth and sizes. Because up until they become adults, that's the only way to really tell the age of antelope. I don't think the deer follow the same sort of pattern. I don't think that the deer, because they lose their horns every year, it's all got to do with diet, it's all got to do with, I don't know, genes too, perhaps. But yeah, the genes are only really noticeable once they reach their full-grown status, and that like after 4 years with an Impala or 6 years with a kudu. Only then perhaps they start thickening or just mostly just thickening. It's a different genetic strain that will have really, really big horns or really, really what humans call trophies. Sad though that humans have to want to do something like that because basically driving natural selection down. see it. It's gonna take off any second. What's wrong with you, eagle? There's a tiny little pool there, so there might still be the odd fish that escape the talons of the fish eagle or the beak of the stork. Sadly, that gorgeous lady stork that used to cruise this mud wallow and frogs and fish, she fell prey to a martial eagle. What a shot. And there's a warthog running away, but hopefully he won't move. I just want to get the shot. This Njala. Moving. And there's the warthog. That was just so stunning against the termite mound. Yo! Hibbing! Yeah. Minneapolis, whatever. Minnesota, not Minneapolis. Minnesota. Hello! Charlie. Haven't seen the stork. Charlie wants to know if we've seen the male, the mate of that stork. They lost their baby and that's what. And he lost his mate. He's a devastated stork at the moment. I don't know if he'll ever get over it. And I'm not being frivolous, I'm not joking. I have to be totally honest with you. That's what I feel from him. He's got to be devastated. He's lost a mate and he's lost a chick. I wasn't even just a chick, I mean it was a sub adult. That his family wiped out. How can he not feel? He's a stork that has very, very strong paternal instincts. In fact, he was a better father than most humans. Oh yeah, that's not really great. So, let's move along. We were looking at these little impala boys moving around. But no, I'll find out from one of the guys if I hear from them. I'll find out if anyone's seen the male. But I haven't. I do remember saying I didn't see the female here. And it wasn't only a day or so later that I found out. And then there was also a day that I said, and I looked at the next and I thought, the baby's not there anymore. Actually, I think I need to go back there and see if there are any feathers left. the radio. It's like somebody said something about smoke. Tuning into the Game Drive radio. Soap opera, no. No, it's not a soap opera, it's like that. Could actually probably make a nice reality show out of it. Cameras on each vehicle. And actually all the interaction, almost like not ice road truckers, dirt road rangers. Yeah. Dirt road rangers. Camera on every vehicle, live. With the guest. Guest sign a consent before, and yeah, cool, we'll have this, because, gee, this could be a video of our whole holiday. And everything's just tapped into the guide. They're all live anyway. I can have minimal interaction. But the rest of the world, obviously they've got to do most of it to their guests. So you also feel like you're one of the guests, but you're also allowed to ask your own questions. You get to experience it. That's only there are inherent problems to that scenario. Oh, look, here's new bulldozer mark. That's what we heard when we were having lunch. We heard this machine over here. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh my word. Because there's no way you can fix this with it. Somebody let somebody loose with a big front end loader and have, my word, this is a nightmare. I don't know, but this is, I'm sorry folks, but I really get so upset when I see this such. I'm just not saying anything, I'm just fired or even ended. But my word. David! Hey David! Sorry, didn't get it. Florida. Oh no, maybe not. David, I'll get your friend. And trying to think how I can answer it, because I guess I don't know. That's the final answer. I can guess. David's asking what are the sort of financial costs of running a live drive like this. But they are. I was strangely talking about it, because I was thinking about it the other day, and it runs into the thousands. I mean, forget about our salaries. I'm just talking about the general running costs of bandwidth and equipment. The fuel cost alone, driving around. Oh, they're guinea fowl. I saw something jumping through the grass. Let's stop and listen anyway and see what the bush has got. There's a whole admin side that I don't know of, but in terms of the on the ground stuff, that I can give an idea of, because just to have the jigger running and just to have a group of people and feed them and sleep them is one issue. The other thing is that you have to find a property that is willing to let you use their facilities and let you stay there, and most of these places require a rent. So it runs into probably to the, I don't know, $20,000-$30,000 a month easily. I have no idea. Ow. But of course, one of the biggest setbacks, one of the biggest things about this is that it requires a crew, and the crew requires accommodation. We require almost an entire camp on its own, and 99% of the places here in the bush are guest camps that don't have. Invariably they have a shortage of staff accommodation. You find staff have to double up and live in abominable conditions compared to the luxury lodges that they get to sleep in. But to find an entire camp that will let us do this now, the camp that we're staying at right now, there's been a given from the start of the project that we will be out of here at the end of the month. So comes to an end for now. I would love it to be able to, because of the possibility of finding somewhere else and having all the equipment and going around to landowners around in the area and finding out. I would love to find an alternative. Teddy in New York. The drive over. Oh my, look at them. Look at that piglet. No, of course you're going to run away. Stand there when you drive fast. Now we stop to look at you, you run away. Tails in the air, run through the grasses. Okay. No, what these people don't realize that what they've just done to roads is the worst possible thing they could ever do to the roads. But not only that, but to the bush. I wish, I don't know, I wish humans didn't have their hand in things. I wish they didn't think they knew what they were doing. Who was it? Somebody sent me something. Somebody gave me this beautiful little innocent picture that says, I can't repeat it, it's got a swear word in it, I can't repeat it. I'll try and rephrase it. It goes something like, for those of you who think you know everything, stop messing it up. Messing it up for those of us who do. So I messed it up. But yes, for those of you who think you know everything, stop messing it up for those of us who do. But I never profess to know everything. But golly gosh, I've had so much experience in dealing with roads and rehabilitation and erosion, and you don't bring everything equipment on bush roads. Well, it's done and dusted, and I'll come back here in a couple of years and I'll go, I told you so. It is time we visited Mildred. We've been preoccupied with elephants for so long now. It's not so long, it's like a couple of drives. It's really not even that long. But it hasn't gotten us up to the northwest. We're going to try and reach there today. And I'm saying I forget about how these roads have been destroyed. They were bad enough. Now they've been destroyed by not so much in loaded things not to drive it at all. The operator. That's what he is. He operates the machine. From tomorrow I'll wear my chocolate hat. For the remainder of the drive. Needs to get a bit dusty and needs to get a little bit of wear and tear. Oh yeah, I was talking. I don't know where our series is going to be spliced. I don't know when we're ending. I don't know where it will appear. Plus the last one. a while, but it eventually was on Netflix. And maybe one or two other, I don't know somewhere else. And it'll be interesting to find out where it does go, but for now, I'm just happy that we're live again, that we've been able to have this time to be live. I think we all had a lot of expectations of it being very similar to what we had experienced before in terms of wildlife, in terms of the density of wildlife, the frequency that we were seeing things. And I think we've all been sort of put in our place, but we've all been jolted to reality that Thornybush up in the north and in places, based on what the sightings tell me over the radio, there's a lot of excitement up north, but it just happens to be that we were based here in the south, rather dense, and not much utilizes the southern region of Thornybush. So much so that the drives don't even come down here, but that for us has been a blessing because it has given us the opportunity and the time to spend time with animals that we would ordinarily, if we'd been racing around Thornybush from sighting to sighting, just to get to show you things with forklifts. We would get our allotted 10 minutes, and then that might just be looking at here, and then after those 10 minutes, up, we've got to leave, we've got to go. Sorry? Special in that we've had an area of Thornybush, despite its bumpy road and the bumpy ride of life drives in terms of signal and distance and all of those things. It's been a super ride. I know it sounds like I'm finishing, but I'm just preparing us all for a sort of a wind down. We have to wind down. This is not, it doesn't come down to financials, it doesn't come down to anything other than we were given this time to do a project in Thornybush, and that time is up. But it's not up to us, it's not up to finance, it's up to Thornybush and this section of Thornybush. I'm going to help Emily and Graham and Wild Earth look for an alternative. Not that there will be one, but just whatever happens. There's so much involved in putting up antennas and getting signals. But it would be nice. It would be nice to, I mean, if you want the best case scenario, for me personally, would be to take this Land Rover through all the countries that I talk about and the places that I've visited, to get this Landy up to Okavango, take a live drive through the Okavango, and then get it up to Tanzania, go through the Waha and the Sulu, and then go to Serengeti and the Mara, and then go up to Kenya and to remote places and Maasai villages, and combine cultural and wildlife, and ultimately tell a story of the plight of elephants and rhino and wildlife and people. And the fact that so many of us in Africa, in rural areas, live without electricity and all these modern things that every human takes for granted, and we actually don't care because it doesn't really matter, we don't need it. But water and alternative power sources and all sorts of other things to help our lives get better, those are the important things in life. The wonderful people around. I found some clinics in East Africa, in some of the remotest places I've ever lived, are these sponsored clinics for the Maasai communities or other local communities, where I could go and get my regular blood tests done, actually, and get the results quicker than I can here when I go to a pathologist. Rural Maasai land, surrounded by thousands and thousands of cattle, hundreds of herders that bring their cattle to one water point, the only water point, and that just happens to be where the sponsored clinic is because it's convenient to have it there. Where families and more where people gather. Okay, so Purple Mountains in the west. We're at a crossroads. It's not like we have that much choice, but we can go straight or left now. Right. So as soon as we get over this driving into the sun, and then we'll start heading back south and south of the mountain. Copy. Thank you, Aaron. They've got more. Sorry, lost them for now. Sharon, if you're with us, I'll bring the book in the morning. I might have said this earlier. I've got this book and I'll show you the pictures, but I'll also... Actually, you know what you can do? Try this out. Try this. Let me know how it works out. But if you go to Google Books, open a new tab, go to Google Books. Book called Game Ranch Management, edited by, and well, she put it together. Capital B O T H M A. J.W. That was the book that had it. And you know what, Karen? Yeah. When I had that day off about a month ago, it was a month ago. Wow, how Thursday? Months ago, I went home, especially brought signal chopping. Why do I always get into a nice story here at exactly this spot? road. Must be better now. It's choppy for some reason. But if it's above zero, it should still be steady. Anything above zero is still broadcast. Never mind. We're at the top of the ridge, so everything's fine. Sharon, I was getting very excited because I suddenly had this thought. Actually, I hope Sharon's with us. Sharon in Austria, and we've been talking about horns of animals and things, and whether they can be used as a reference for age, how accurate it is. And I've been saying that every antelope has a specific rate of growth of the horn that you can tell what the age is, but with kudu, for some reason, the twist doesn't really do anything, doesn't really give up, because the twist itself is genetic, but the length of the horn and the length of it is more indicative of age. And I looked in my book, and then I remembered that I had a book back in my cabin that might have it in, and I went to look at my book today, and I actually had an incredible surprise opening this book. But yes, that is the book that has it, and I was supposed to bring it on drive, but I didn't, because I forgot that I was preoccupied. But it occurs to me that I went home last full moon, and it's full moon today. I went home last full moon because I had the day off, my one and only ever day off. Thank you very much. I especially brought that book because I wanted that, because it might even have the different sizes of elephants in it. Another picture of that I wanted to show you all. And I just thought that it's so serendipitous because today is full moon. It was exactly a moon of them. And so the moon is up public again. Full moon time. So we got to get to a spot like the full moon time, where we're going to watch the full moon rising after sunset. Or no, we'll go back to where the baobab is, the southern side of the river. We'll be there for sunset. So Sharon, do let me know if you're with me this afternoon, and then we'll make a date when I can show you the cover of that book. But I was going to try Google Books and try and look at the book on Google Books. I don't know the ISBN, it doesn't really matter, but there's only one Game Ranch Management by J.W. And this is, I think, probably a first edition. So I'm sure there are one or two other editions after that. And if you go to the back of the book, I don't know if you know that, but any of the books cost I will. I'll put a list of my books I've been asked. I will, and you can do it with my books too, so we can go to the same page. But you can go to a lot of books in Verbal Monkey. Oh, they're watching something. Can you see any with the car? There's one coming into the terminator now. Let me go a little forward. They'll let me. This is the same troop that we've seen. We spent time with them at Langwan Dam in that marula tree. Exactly the same troop. And they're probably on their way back home down to the dam, and I'm disturbing them. There's still some around. Too many grasses in the road in the way. so many grasses in my way. Carry forward. Thanks, Sarah. That one is a little bit of gardenia. She's gonna get intimidated. Fellow primates. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks for the encouragement. Sarah Kearns in New York. Wow. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Maybe we can call the networks and tell them. Remember Charlie Sheen? No, not Charlie Sheen. What was his name? Charlie. He did the motorbike ride from England. Him. Long way down. That too. So it'll be a combination of what Kingsley Holgate does and what he does. And I can even have Kingsley with us sometime. Try and convince the man. Is this Burgett letting us form for the change? It was probably the longest we've been able to get a bourbon on camera for the time that we've been here. Nice view of one anyway. The children are playing in a little gardenia down there, but I don't know how good that'll be because they're getting into the marula tree from there. That's another one of my ideas, is to take our cameras, like the Meerkat project, to do a couple of months, just maybe 2-3 months, going into the spring with a troop of vervet monkeys. And I know a troop of monkeys that we can do it with. Just got to convince. Oh, through that little via the marula tree. That is so cute. This is Charles. Okay, maybe we can. Can't do game drives. Maybe we can spend 2-3 months going into spring with a troop of vervet in a lodge nearby. Okay, let's go down to Longwan Dam. See what's there. See if we can see Mildred. Mildred the crocodile. Probably a couple of buffalo bulls. See what's happening on the radio. And what's happening back in email. There isn't anything there. Is there anybody out there? Is there anybody out there? Now, could you imagine technology allowing us to take a vehicle right throughout Africa rural areas, over the schools. Take all these hard drives with Education Pro and a projector and a generator and go. I already know people who do that. They take a generator and they take a projector and they take all these. Oh, look here, the buffalo. And they take these movies, a lot of education movies that are translated into Swahili, and they take them around to all the rural areas of schools. Hello, buffalo. Good afternoon, buffalo. Yes, very well, thank you. How are you today? Hello, man. Just blinking at me. To relax, old man. And quite bored with me. I'm of no consequence to him at all. How small do I feel? Hello, Charlie. The name of the book I was talking about is called Game Ranch Management. Some of you might not like the book because it has things about hunting and stuff, but it has information that is useful to people like me who don't do hunting, manage properties and have managed game reserves. And I have to admit, I've had this book for probably about 20 years now. Always been handy. But for the purpose that I wanted to use it for was to show Sharon the different ages of horns in especially kudu, but also buffalo and impala and other animals. Am I in the way? Gravity can take them forward. No, it's not happening. So, Game Ranch Management by J. Dupi Bachman. I'm just gonna J. Full stop. D-U. Full stop P, full stop B-O-T-H-M-A, Botman. Hello, buffalo. See how it only cuts the grass down to a certain level? What we call a tall grass grazer. Don't go away while I'm talking. What we call a tall grass grazer. Although they are somewhat of a bulk grazer buffalo, they're mostly a tall grass grazer, and it is vital that you have buffalo to eat those tall parts of the grasses to make it more favorable for the medium grazers. Remember, grazers are those that eat grass, Torah. He's going to graze into the sun shortly after. We'll see if we can see him from this angle. But he's grazing mostly in the tall. Okay, well, let's look at him rather. He might be better, easier, because you can't really see this. Okay, not really. Too much in the way. Alright, this one then. So he'll graze for us. Oh, maybe he won't. Relax, dude. Put the head down. You're the old man that had the injury to your eye, aren't you? Gosh, look at his muscles. Quite a buffalo. Yeah, why don't you move while I want to bring out my camera, don't you? Oh, I missed that shot. That one shot. It was really so good. Posing. He was not posing, but he was, his stance, his posture was sort of part arrogant, part questioning, part challenging even. Move on to the dam. It's really easy to get a... Oh, hang on. He's going to be rubbing against it. Just a boost in between. So I go backward a bit or...
Back.
This is another bull now. Slightly younger, I'd say. I'm not even sure if I was distracted in saying something. Somehow, back of my mind, I think I was. Alright. Before I was interrupted by buffalo. You just got to get used to me because I can have something in my mind and be talking about it, and then I come across an animal or something, and then all of a sudden my mind has sort of dumped everything to be in that moment that I'm with an animal, because I have to be fully aware of what I'm doing and how that animal is reacting to my presence. I can't be distracted about thinking about questions that I'm busy answering. So it might be signs of ADD or something, but it's just a simple explanation that when I suddenly come across animals or I'm distracted by nature, my entire being is with what that element of nature is that I'm with. Who need open, shorter grass areas. You can all reach the grass because it's at your feet. So to spread the competition or to limit the competition, nature ensures that some animals eat the tall part of the grass and some animals eat the medium part of the grass, some animals eat the shorter part of the grass, and they need to feed together to complement each other for access to those parts of the plant that they need. And it just so happens that they also complement each other for for other reasons too. One might have good hearing and the other might have good eyesight. And all in all, it just behooves them. It just increases their chances of survival because there are more eyes and more ears and more noses to smell out danger. Bobby in Florida, I'm guessing, he's talking about his buffalo. And the discoloration, what Bobby is referring to as discoloration. There's a nice, maybe, that pool next to that. It's a little bit of a branch in the way, but you can still see pale patches of skin. I can even see where he's got tick bites and all sorts of other things bleeding from under his front legs. But I've often been asked about the white patches and things on buffalo, but they're not white patches, they're merely patches where the hair has been rubbed off over time. You've got to remember, these are old bulls, and over 20 or so years, or 30 years of having itches in certain places, they've rubbed it to the point where they don't have any hair, but even more to the point where it starts developing calluses. So if you look at this particular bull, and I don't know if you can see it, sort of behind his eye, between his eye and his ear and the bottom of his horns on his right, our left, you can see a very pale grey patch. And that is obviously a place where he's had a lot of irritation over his life, and he's rubbed it on trees, and he's rubbed it on bark and sticks and wherever he can when he's had an itch. And over time, it has not only rubbed the hair away, but it's also developed a rather thick callus. So to a large extent, there are certain areas of buffalo where, depending on what kind of life they've lived and depending on how they have reacted to itches and scratches, because not everyone is the same, they develop these calloused areas far different to the one next to them. But there are always sort of areas around the eye, in front of the eye, around the bust, around the base, or rather the inner thigh, the stomach, where the thigh rubs against the stomach, and these are all areas of skin where a lot of ticks and a lot of parasites gather. So there's been a lot of scratching and rubbing, and that accounts for a lot of this callus development. But having said that, there is another culprit. There is another reason why you might find discolorations and patches on the skin that are not in those areas where a buffalo rubs all its life. That might be sort of higher up on the flank, or on the back, or on the shoulders, where there isn't soft skin for parasites or parasitic development to cause that effect. And those are places where perhaps bovine tuberculosis in its dermological form starts manifesting. Because all of them, these buffalo, are all carriers of bovine TB, and sometimes it manifests itself as lesions. He's got a very red eye, his right eye. In fact, it looks like it's weeping quite severely. I wonder if he's not the one that had... Or maybe it's the same one we were looking at earlier. Got a very, very inflamed red eye. He's got burst blood vessels or something. I think he's the one whose eye was closed. If I look at the tears in his ears, you might be able to look at some archive footage. I think he's the one. Might be, maybe not. Maybe something else with that eye. Certainly not happy about it. But Bobby, hope that answers your question. had that one before, Charlie, and I'll probably give a different answer, or maybe the same. If I came back as an animal, what would I be and why? An elephant or an eagle? Probably. Or a falcon, or a swift. You see, I think for me, coming back, it would all be about freedom. And the animals that symbolize freedom, I suppose it's a whale or a dolphin, but no, I don't think marine. I'm thinking of sky, or if it had to be land, it would have to be an elephant. Although I'm probably half elephant as it is. I got an itch, old boy. Okay, let's go down to the dam. Come on. Okay, bye, boys. Goodbye, boys. See you later. I've only just come up from the dam. Probably. Or dubitably. Heron hunting. Is that a stalk as well with the heron? A heron and a stalk. That's interesting. I don't stall the hen. I'm going to do this really rocky, but really slowly. This is a woolly neck stalk with the heron, and if I go a little bit forward, you can get both heron and stalk. And there's Mildred. No, it's not. It's mud. But there, look at that. You're going to have heron and stalk in one shot. Wow. Thanks, Clancy. Aaron just read me a quote that you sent in. I'll have to learn it. Not that much to learn, but I'll try and learn it. Repeat it tomorrow. That's very profound. Following a dream as an eagle must fly, explore the deep blue sky. Not too great, so is it? No sign of Crocodilius niloticus. And we're sitting facing the sun. But woolly neck stork and grey heron. Plus I've got this double sun with it reflecting off the water and bouncing into my face. Sorry, that makes a noise. So bright. So very bright. That's better. Having a dust storm. This is a puff of dust. I'm going to get that. Okay, Sharon. Message from Erin. Hi, Sharon. Looking at the book online. Not available as an ebook. No, I didn't think it was an ebook, but I've been able to go into when I haven't had field guides at my disposal because disposable. Hello, Mark, your language, please. When I haven't had field guides at my disposal and I've been in the city and I wanted to show somebody something, or I've been somewhere and I needed to show someone a butterfly, I go into Google Books, not e-books, it's just Google Books, and you can actually open the pages of an individual book. But I understand if it's not available on Google Books, I'm pretty sure it's not an e-book, because it will never be an e-book. And interesting that it's $285. Wow. I better find a few copies of it. But yeah, it is a special book. It's like Tim Caulfield's Wilderness Guardian. There's another one. In fact, there might even be a similar thing. Have a look, see if you can access Tim Caulfield. A wonderful old man. I don't even know if Tim's still with us or not, but 10 years ago he was already, he wasn't that old, still guiding. Also, I used to know his brother. Also a guide up in Tanzania, Kenya, Africa. Called Wilderness Guardian, or The Wilderness Guardian. Caulfield, spelled C-O-R-F-I-E-L-D. And if you need me to spell Tim, you shouldn't be looking up books. Sorry, I couldn't resist that. Yeah, he shouldn't need me to spell stuff. Tango India Mike. There you go, I spelled it for you. Tango? Who said something about a tango? I want a tango. Who wants to tango with me? Okay. Of course. Requires good calves, short skirts, high heels. It requires a tuck. I'll never be able to tango. I don't own a tuck. I'll make it tuck. Yeah, I'll get a khaki tuck. Yeah, I'll have a khaki tuck. No, definitely one tuck.
Okay.
I don't do the two-tone stuff. That's reserved for. I shall stop there before I get myself into deep trouble, which I'm probably in already. I mean, sempre and excretia set altitudo varia. If you know Latin, and that's not showing off my Latin because I don't know very much more than that, but that's one I do know. And I'm happy to report that I don't have to use the word depend in any of my answers to this question. There are no dugger girls because old females who live within the breeding herd stay within the breeding herd until they pass on. And if they can't keep up, they get eaten by lions. But in the female society of buffalo, they have so much to pass on, plus they are very maternal till their dying day, and they do have offspring, and they stay within the herd. You never get females who will break away from the herd. They never say never, but you don't have females that break away from the herd because they get too old, because actually they're so valuable to the herd in terms of helping to care for the youngsters. You know, when things attack buffalo and maybe try and take out the weak and the lame and the lazy, that everybody thinks it's those old cows. It's those old cows that maybe don't have a calf to protect. Those are the old cows that come to the rescue of the buffalo that are threatened by lions. They stay with the herd. They don't leave the herd. They become the knowledge of the herd. We take the herd for grazing and that sort of stuff. So, well, their value, or try and find a way of saying this, but the knowledge value that they can contribute to the well-being of the herd is far too great for them to leave the herd. So nature has it that they stay with the herd, and they are the old ladies of the herd. There's no reason for the old bulls to stick around. If they can't mate anymore, what use are they? They just lag behind anyway, complaining all day. It's better they go find themselves a mud wallow and retire with their bull buddies and play buffalo poker. And I spy with my little eye, something beginning with an L. Land Rover. Oh, it was too easy. How'd you get that? Oh, because one comes by every 5 minutes. That sort of thing. Okay, that was cheesy. What can I say? I'm in a frivolous mood this afternoon. It's a lovely afternoon. Middle of winter, it's the coldest month of the year. It's better than some places summer. I reckon if the spindles of the Swedes Well, the Danes came here, they think it's and the Brits. Like glorious summer temperatures. Sorry, I'm generalizing. Take that back. Okay. Hi, Charlie. Wondering if anybody's ever thought of using weather balloons to raise antennas a few hundred feet or so. No, actually, I don't think it has been thought of. It's a bit difficult in the wind and stuff, but yeah, it's quite something worth looking into, I suppose. Interesting concept. Apart from the aesthetic side of things, having a big balloon in the sky. What happens if Balsa slides into it, it'll pop it, and then what's it going to do? Okay, that's not going to happen. The Balsa won't pop it. Interesting concept. So I'll have to look into that. Right, we've got to find ourselves. The sun is going to go down, the moon is going to come up. Where is our best bet to find somewhere to look at that? That's going to be the most. I think I'll still stick, based on where we are, I still think the Baobab is still going to be the best. Go back up across the river, so we'll take a little detour this way, and then that way, and that way. Take a bit of that. No, maybe actually there's no time for it. It's full moon tonight. Get to the bottom, we'll take the river and we'll go back along the edge. And we'll get up there in time. In fact, we might even not have enough time. But we don't have enough time to go that way. This is our last full moon, everybody. For the time being. Please note, for the time being. I hope that somehow, some way, even if I have to use the dongle, dangle the dongle into the path of the cell phone signal and pick it up when I get a new laptop battery. Somehow another full moon will be together. But this for now is our full moon finale. No, not finale. This is the last full moon we're going to have together for a while. From now, going into spring and summer, I'm going to be on my little landy in my little corner of the woods, looking for my little elephant to spend my little full moon with. And of course, whoever may be visiting at the time. That is very interesting, Carol. Thank you. Carol's telling me that in Tibetan, the word for elephant means, is sort of directly translated as earth protector. they see the elephants as a protector. That is wonderful. I like that. I must try and think of a Swahili and Changan equivalent. But I don't really need an equivalent. Because I guess to me that's what elephant, that I'm happy to. That's what elephant means. Free. Protected the road. Preserve. Hello, Vivian. This is Chicago. Vivian was thinking about Venus flytrap and pitcher plants. Wondering if there are any apicorus plants here in South Africa. And yes, Vivian, there is. There is perhaps the largest, I think. They got maybe the pitcher plant is bigger. Look at our alien invaders, not the pitcher plant, but it's a similar, the trumpet creeper or something, that has also pitcher-shaped flowers, the brown and kingfisher. But as far as indigenous plants are concerned, in fact, we have a very special plant down in the Cape, or kingfishers garden, followed by a pygmy, could have been a pygmy even. Something to look after it, just tiny. Sundew, it is called, and sundew is also an insectivorous plant. So here's a Nyala family. So that's cool. Chase all the Nyala away. Not often that they run away. Oh, there's a little boy. Sundew. I'm trying to think of the scientific name for sundew, and I don't think I'm going to get it in my book because it only occurs down in the Cape. But I'm sure that somewhere in my head, I don't have it in my book. Sundew. It is. All is gone. It is hyper. Anyways, look it up. Go to. Oh, hello, baby. Yes, that baby Nyala. Yeah, we'll get to see them. See this gap with that little one. Very dark in there. It would be amazing if I had a touchscreen device that I could help me with my answers. Because everything's got to come out of my head, and my head's not like a touchscreen device. It takes time for my brain to access the information. Sometimes I only remember it afterwards. But yes, look at the sundew on Plants Africa, PLANTZ, not with an S, but spelled with a Z. PlantsAfrica.com, and look at the sundew. Quite a unique insectivorous plant, endemic to Southern Africa. But we don't have it here in the bush, only down in the Cape. Oh, Roger. Yes, Roger. Hello, Roger, in Wisconsin. Nice to hear from you. I have been asked, in fact, I have been left, I have been remit, what's the word, in my response. I have been sorry, but I haven't done it yet. Roger's asking me to put a number of the reference book that I use somewhere on the list. I shall do that. I will do that. And I'll try and put links to Google Books as well. How's that? I'll try my best. Just that you'll notice that in the last couple of months that we've been here, I haven't really done that much on Facebook. We don't have that much of an internet connection during the day and all, because it's all given to this being drive. So we don't do too much on the internet during the day and out of drive time. Although somewhere I've got 250 megs of, I've got an SMS. One of my SIM cards I've got 250 megs of data bundles on my 3G card. But I will do that. Even include a memo book that I will recommend that I saw recently that I haven't got yet, but I'll go to Kalahari and get it soon. A lot of these books you can get through Kalahari.com. Got a field guide, nature books, that kind of stuff. But I shall do that. I've been meaning to for some time now. I haven't got around to it. And so then I'm sorry, for that mode I've been lazy. It's not like I haven't had time. Just laziness. Coming back from drive. Just doing other stuff. See, we're chasing the shadow of the sun. You can see the light in the distance. That's the tops of the trees. We're in the shadow of the ridge behind us. We're going to clear it. Get up onto the top of that ridge to our right. See the sunset. To do that, we've got to cross the river. Across the river, we've got to follow the river upstream for a considerable distance. Because that sun's going to go down and that moon's going to come up, and it's going to be a very special evening that I want to see. Hello, Sharon. Yes. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so my Tim Caulfield book right now is worth over €1,000. Gee, I'd be able to buy a whole solar system thing with, and maybe even a video camera with it. But I'm sorry, I can't give up my Tim Caulfield book. So what do I do, Sharon? Sharon saying she looked at the Tim Caulfield book. Only 2 copies going at the moment. But yeah, I'm not going to give up my books for money so that I can. Well, you know what? When it comes to it, just to feed my face, just to pay my medical aid, I might have to one of these days. Except it's going to cost me probably $20,000 just to get most of my library back here to the Thornybush because it's still in storage. And you know what the irony is? And when I'm paying for storage, I could have been paying back on my credit card if I brought all my stuff up here from the beginning. I could have paid it off on my credit card at the same amount of money. But because I didn't have a credit card at the time, and I now do, and now I don't have the money to pay back. I don't know. Life. When you go to everything, every minute of the working day, you've got to calculate what you do versus what it costs you to do what you do, and being able to. We're the only species on the planet that have to pay to live on the planet. I mean, how does that make sense, people? So we're the only living thing on this gorgeous planet that has to create something to provide us with little pieces of colored paper so that we can live. Okay, what am I becoming socialist and communist now? I don't know. I'm just saying, it doesn't make sense. Get all these multi-billion trillionaires and these governments with all this money, and they still tax us and they still demand all this money from us. Meanwhile, they hold in their purse strings and their short arms and their deep pockets, they hold enough money to make sure that everybody could just live quite happily. Greed. Sharon, my library is available to you anytime you need it. We're not getting back. Although, I think I've got some small field books back home in the Thornybush. I've got some other maybe 20 boxes of books full of stories that I've been paying for the last, gosh, what is it, 6 years? No, 2008. 5 years. So that's a lot of that. What's that? Is that a car? Obviously looking for tracks of something. I haven't been listening to the radio. The elephant track's going up. Track is looking for something. Which station opposite River Lodge? Brad, on your bushwiller? Am I intruding? I'm just rambling on to everybody and I'm not being forgetting. But we want to get across the river, we want to go to the sunset before moonrise. Hello, Mania.
How are you, sir?
Fine, and you?
Yeah, well, man. How things going?
Good, thanks.
Well,
Good.
see one track here going straight back towards River Lodge side.
Is Big or my daughter?
No, it's Muffazi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but that's it, only one.
There was this morning one that Big or my daughter coming down Bombay.
Okay, because I see there that in that Shinkoba there by Miri, they're up and down.
Again.
But only for male and only for the two younger, the
Yeah.
older male and the youngster. I don't know where she is.
They walked east of Hamakov Dam this morning or during the night because the two male tracks were coming east from there. But then Willie pulled a Land Cruiser number.
He told me this morning, I said,
Yeah.
hey, you did the same thing as me, eh?
Yeah.
So
But he kept telling me go around the front and pull it from the front.
Yeah.
And I said, So I did the same trick. Put it on the high lift and pulled them back.
Yeah.
And it was like this one time popped out.
Which way are you going now?
I want to head back up on the other side. It's full moon. I want to see the sunset. I want to see the full moon. There's not much here. Those doors have gone north, so I'm out of signal. So.
Okay, cool. I'm going to just check Bombay and then go for live. If anything comes out tomorrow morning, it will be fresh.
Yeah, that will.
I've driven this place now flat.
Well, I'll check around Troughton side of the river in the morning before I come this side.
Okay.
Especially around Hamakop and that.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, enjoy. Have a good one. Cheers, man.
Are you going up here?
Yeah, I'm going to get that.
Cool.
No problem.
Bye. Bye. Got it up behind towards us at speed. Yes, the rebound. See what you got there. Marianne. Must be new. Have I ever felt in danger on a drive, and do I carry a weapon? Yes, feel in danger all the time. I'm driving through the wilderness, wild African animals that are going to jump out and eat me at any moment. Thank goodness nobody's been here fixing that up if they were there. That's where we rescued a Land Cruiser today. Sorry, you didn't hear that. I said that's where we rescued a Land Cruiser. The Land Rover rescued a Land Cruiser today. Just send me an email if you didn't hear that. I'll repeat it. Marianne, don't carry a weapon. Yes, there have been times when I've felt a little bit threatened. It's invariable. We are dealing with wild animals, and to a large extent I rely on my passion and my understanding of their behavior and my knowledge of their behavior, and the fact that they are not threatened by the vehicle because they learn that the vehicle is here to harm them. And so there's a certain amount of conditioning that no matter how fierce the animals are, especially lion and things, there are times that I feel threatened. There are times when I've been charged by lion and leopard, even in the vehicle. It's an open vehicle. When you've got a big, full-grown male lion charging at you, spitting fire and fury, believe me, it's a bit of an adrenaline rush, because there's nothing in the vehicle that can protect you from it. Even a firearm can't protect you from it. There's nothing that can protect you from a big male lion who might be intent on biting the head off. And trust me, with the size of those cats, they can do it. I'll show you a skull. I'll be able to put my entire head in his skull from a lion from here in Thornybush. So, yeah, there have been times. Maybe not here at Thornybush. I haven't felt threatened. There was only one time. Not threatened. It's just I had to ask an elephant to sort of step away from the vehicle. You know, it was like I had this giant bull that I called Kokwan. He was literally like his back leg was standing over the front left there, and his right leg, shoulder was right here next to me, and I was looking straight up at him, and I had to sort of say no, because he just had to turn his head. He didn't have to do anything. He just had to turn his head and he would have knocked my block off. Just because just the size of weight of his head. So, yes, I felt a little bit threatened. I'm a puny little human being sitting 7 tons of elephant, 11 feet at the shoulder above me. It's the only time here in Thornybush. Not threatening. It's just there was a time when I decided that, look, dude, you're in my space. I'll let you come into my space up to a certain point, but that was... I don't want to be wearing, or I don't want you to be wearing me at the end of your tusk if you turn your head. So, apart from that, in other situations, very much so. As I say, they're wild animals, and so it is possible from time to time to be in a circumstance, to be in a situation where an animal is not that happy to be with you, or for you to be in a space, and it's kind of tense, because you do feel vulnerable. Obviously, on foot it's 1,000 times more so, and when you're out on a boat, some of the places where you can do boat safaris, oh yeah, I'll tell you something. Talk about vulnerability. That's the place for vulnerability. Out of our element in the water, we've got crocodiles below you, crocodiles and hippos below you, and elephants and lions on the bank, and buffalo, and all you've got is just the aluminium hull between you and it, and that. And we're just going to stop here, just look at the sun up the river. I'm going to put on a few layers. I'm getting really chilly. But I don't want to expose my body to live broadcast. So I'm just going to stand behind the vehicle. Very brave in my short sleeves until a certain point. But if you look at the sunset, this also is lovely down that end too. Beautiful colours down the riverbed this evening. Sure. Okay, let's go see if we can find a moonrise. Fun as we go through over the sand. Ooh. Hello, Nancy. Outside Seattle. Not Seattle, but outside Seattle, Washington State. Hello, Nancy. Have I ever thought about writing a book about my adventures with animals? Not really. I write a lot, but I don't know how to put it together. I don't know how to put it together. Got to have a start, middle, end, and all of that stuff. Got to go to writing schools. I don't know. I've always written. I've written since I was a kid. It's been my release, the way I express myself. But I write like I talk on drive. And if you know me long enough, you know that I very seldom make a point. I change the subject all the time. I forget the point that I was making, and I can never get back to it. So, like I have all, yeah. That's how my writing is. But yes, I'll figure it out one day. One day, I don't know. And then I'm going to. I don't know. I have thought about it. I've thought about it a lot, but I don't know how to. I need to know how to structure it. I don't know how to do that. So, but then as soon as you include structure, then it throws me off completely, because then I can't create my own structure. Because I can't write into a formula. I can only write what's in my head. Well, not to say that that's not literary relevant, or not to say that that wouldn't pass as prose, but especially since there have been some relatively good books that have been written and sold as bestsellers without even punctuation, let alone structure. Maybe one day when I grow up, figure it out. Okay, so we've got this beautiful light now, sending some great sunset, because there isn't any cloud, but I'm hoping we're going to catch a moonrise in the east. Tint to the top of some of the trees. As promised, we're coming back to this grassy area where maybe the wildebeest are going to come out. There's the sunset. Looks like my timing's been perfect. But almost. Got to step on it a little bit to get to the top of the rise where the baobab tree is. Can't think of anything better. There's not much of a sunset from there. Sunset to the full moon rise close to the baobab in Purple Mountain. That is going fast. Well, it's Thornybush. Tara used to be big Thornybush. thing I forgot was we got to get over this really rough terrain. The warthogs was dug up the way they have, dug it up. Baker. Oh, there's smoke on me. Take this, dug it up. I don't know if you can see the mountains from here, folks, but they're these deep purple, absolutely beautiful, stunning. Absolutely stunning. You can get around the edge of this baobab. Here's the baobab right in front of us. Baby baobab. But ignore the power lines, pretend they don't exist. But hopefully we can see that little the special sunset. Love you all, and thanks for supporting us these last couple of months. Still has a few more days to drive, but it's not going to be a sunset and a full moon like this on Thornybush. Can't do that in a photograph. No, never work. I don't even know if the effect comes out on the camera. But it's the most beautiful sort of long-range view of this northern part of the escarpment coming down into the low veld with the sun. And what's really going to be a shame is that the sun is getting closer to the mountains. We'll try and get here as many times as we can, but one of these days just before we go, it might just be in that gap. Might just be in that gap in front of us. We haven't had any great views of sunset because the sun's been so far north. But as it goes into summer, the sun comes behind the mountains and you get these clouds, and it's the most beautiful sunsets with sun going down behind the mountain, reflecting on the clouds and these shadows that are thrown up into the clouds. I think we'll just leave it there for the evening. Hasn't been that exciting, sorry. No, we can't leave it at that. Nonsense. Only joking. Okay, sun has gone down. Let's go see. I think I was serious. I'm going to go through all this trouble and not see the moonrise. Okay, might be a bit later than normal, but now, if we're allowed to, or not if we're allowed to, but if we're able to, just turn around and say that, look to the east, and, well, Eric, look at that. Ta-da! Come on, that's like the, oh, I wish there was an elephant here, but we had them yesterday with the full moon. But look at that, folks. You know, they talk about the super moon, I suppose super moon from last month. Well, only marginally further away this month, most likely. Look at that. That is just absolutely incredibly beautiful. You have no idea how it is, how special it is, how wonderful it is to share a full moon with people who are close to me. So wonderful. There's no way I can take a photograph of it. There's nothing in taking a photo, it's got to experience it for what it is. Perfect evening, except for not having elephants. I don't know how close. Turn the thing to me. See what it looks like. Oh, close. Full of zoom. Wherever you are in the world, if you're behind us in time, however many hours you are behind us in time, if you're 2 hours behind us in time, you'll see this in 2 hours time, or whatever. Roughly thereabouts, not precise, because the moon has a different rate going around the earth as we do going around the sun, turning around. But wherever you are in the world, I hope you have clear skies so that at sunset you can go to a place where you have a high point, where you can see the west and you can see the east. And I hope you have a wonderful sunset, and I hope you are able to turn around at sunset and have a look at the beautiful moon rising and say, it's the same moon that you saw with me on our afternoon drive. And, well, by then it'll probably be close to midnight for me, for some of you, or even a few hours from now, but I'll keep watch over the moon the whole night, and we'll be looking at the same moon. Magnificent full moon. very appropriate that it is rising at this particular point in time. Not like 5-10 minutes later. You see, tomorrow it's going to be rising 40 minutes later. Yesterday it was already up in the sky at this time, I know, with the elephants. So it is going to be about 19 years before it's going to be rising at this exact time on this exact day. 19 years. Bye, everybody. Nina in New Jersey also. Flick in Canada. Paula in Minnesota. Janine in Durban. I could probably carry on and on and on.